House hacking is all the rage, and frankly, I'm here for it. One of the things I wish I did was house hack a fourplex when I was first financially ready, which would have been around 22 or 23. My financial future would have undoubtedly been different, but I never did it. I didn't know it was a thing. Of course, Dion, Matt, Anna, so many amazing millionaires on this channel have shown you that house hacking is the way. But now we're going to talk about what might be the wrong way to do it. Dion, what's going on?
Howdy, I'm excited to be here, and I'm glad I got to bring up a topic that I think I get to see that Michael Zuber face expression go, that is a different way of looking at things, because that's what my job
The
is to do.
Dionisms are coming.
Find the new angle, right? So if we talk about house hacking, most people reference it as, and I would say you agree, probably one of the best, not easy, but easiest ways to get started in real estate and investing.
I 100% agree with that
Right? So
sentiment.
you can invest in stocks, but if you have roommates, you're gonna have more money to invest in stocks. If you buy a house with a ADU and rent out the ADU, you're gonna have more money to invest in stocks. You can start and grow a business, and if you reduce your housing costs, you have more funding to fund your business. If you want to get into real estate, it's low down payment, owner occupied, best interest rate, fixed rate debt, reduce to save for investing, right? You would say this is what I want to say. I want to say 100%, but 99% of reference to house hacking, this is what comes up.
So far, I'm agreeing with you. I'm part of that 99%, but I feel a left turn coming.
Here's the mistake everyone makes. And I didn't make the mistake and didn't realize it for 2 years.
Okay.
Well, a year.
What?
Yeah, it's hitting a year. Okay. House hacking is a great way to start investing. I totally admit that. You've mentioned one of the things and not, I don't know if I regret, but a better version of doing this faster would have been adding house hacking to your portfolio early on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think house hacking is one of the best exit strategies, not one of the best starting strategities. Now, I'll give you there's the Michael Zuber face of, Dion had a thought
Oh,
from left
you
field.
did it again.
Love it.
Oh,
So
dude, you're so good at
this
that.
is what I
Well,
live for. Oh, and
Matt
I
is
missed the
joining.
chance to do it to Matt.
Oh,
Oh,
we'll give you another chance. He's here.
okay.
To catch
Oh,
Matt
yeah.
up on where we were doing. The topic is what is the biggest problem with house hack? And
And hang on,
Dion,
before you say anything,
go
let's
for it.
Matt, what do you think the biggest mistake is with house hacking?
The biggest mistake with house hacking? Oh, not properly doing the math to recognize what your number is on the way out, you know? So it's like, oh, well, my rents are basically staying the same from moving to an apartment to moving to this house. So, but I own it instead. So that's okay. And usually you can find much better numbers than that.
Yeah, I do think that's one of the bigger mistakes. And there's so how you look at the math and then thinking of it forever. I read a lot of people say I can't house hack because my spouse wants a certain life. Well, it's not forever, it's for a year. So here's a take that we're talking on house hacking. And I think one of the bigger mistakes that people make is when we talk about house hacking, right? Zuber says it would have sped his portfolio up if he started with it.
Sure.
You house hacked 9 times to get your portfolio ramped up. You did it in a time where it was a way to get more loans because they were limiting you to 4 in your name, but you can continue to get more as long as you were owner occupying. So
Correct.
awesome strategy to start with. Here's my take on it. I think house hacking is an amazing exit strategy
I agree.
as much as it is a great starting strategy.
I agree.
Now, if you grow a huge portfolio, right, it's less relevant and it doesn't matter as much. If you have your 100+ units and your cash flow and your rehab deals and you have all of the money coming in, you can retire into whatever kind of housing that you want, right? You bought the places that you have specifically because this is your retirement life. I did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize it for a year. I used house hacking as a retirement exit strategy. I purchased a duplex where I want to live. It's got a 260-degree water view. You guys have seen the views. It's walking distance to the ferries to go down to the Seattle waterfront. It's all of these things, but it's a house hack because when we want to start investing, no matter what strategy we use, it's a lot easier if we don't have a big housing expense. That's what
Sure.
house hacking does. When most people want to retire that don't have the huge portfolio, that use the me or the Chad Carson, small and mighty, or the right cash flow from the least amount of units, the right cash flow from the least amount of units happens a lot easier when you don't have that housing cost. And the example that I reference is, how many, you guys probably know this story. You probably have somebody in your life that's had this story. You have an older couple. One of them passes away that was the breadwinner. Could have been the guy, the girl, it could, gender doesn't matter. Somebody passed away. The person that's left gets limited SSI, maybe a portion, a fraction of their pension that they were getting, doesn't have the cash flow. So what do? They move in roommates. You can go on Craigslist and it's rent a room from Karen, rent a room from Josh, rent a room from all of this. And it's people saying, okay, I'm retired. I don't want to go back to work. What do? I can add roommates. Well, what if you love your spouse enough to do this before they die? And as you get closer to retirement age, maybe you don't do the roommates thing, but you do the house with ADU. You do the duplex, you do the something. So that was my alternate, Dionism, different angle view of house hacking.
I just love of that, because again, what you're really pointing out is, financial freedom, one of the largest expenses ex taxes, is always going to be shelter. And one of the best ways to really have that is to continue house hacking a duplex or whatnot. I think that's genius. And the other thing I totally agree with, my mom, lives in a big house all by herself. And, she at some point might do the whole roommate thing, and all of that. So I think house hacking is, I've never thought of it that way. I've never really thought of house hacking being one of the ways to facilitate the exit. And I think you're right. You bought a duplex, 270-degree view, this, that. It just fits your lifestyle, and you want to travel. So, another bonus, instead of having, like, we do a couple of big houses. It's like, I think you're right. That's very enlightening.
Yeah, they haven't given me permission to use their names. So I'm just going to call them my neighbors. I made friends across the street when I moved in. They had 11 rentals. They're 10 to 15 years older than I am. So they're in a different stage of their investing. They had 11 rentals. They're offloading them. They're selling them, taking them, the massive 47% increase we've seen in the last 4 years that I heard in the daily update. And they're buying dividend stocks to just facilitate an easier retirement with less tenants, toilets, and termites, except they live in a really nice big house right on the water, where they've partitioned off a separate apartment that they rent to a friend that they've known for decades. It has an ADU, right? So they are going to house hack into retirement, further retirement of offloading rentals, but continue the house hacking more than the rentals. And I think a lot of people resist that because they think, oh, I don't want roommates or anything. Well, a house with an ADU is not even touching your house. There's a lot of retired people that have neighbors.
Well, Dion, just because it popped in my head, I hope you go to those folks and tell them that you would love to buy all 11 units, do seller financing. Let them have a note from you. That way they don't have the big tax hit. I hope you had that conversation.
It was one of my first conversations.
Oh,
and
thank God.
Yeah, thank
we collectively came to the conclusion
He's not going to do it.
that they're not stupid. There is a massive market demand for the properties that they have, and that even with seller financing, they're getting better over asking MLS offers all cash than my seller financing would have done.
No. That's not true. That's just
they're not
absolutely
caring about
not
the
true.
taxes. They're walking away with millions, and
If they don't care about 40% taxes, well, that's on them. Okay.
Yeah, that's their thing. They're just happy with you've talked about the appreciation we've had in housing.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I had this in my live stream last night. Somebody said it was a question of something of, well, what do you do if you don't 1031? You might have to pay taxes. Well, yeah.
I've done that. Yeah.
I mentioned you and Matt. You guys have both sold taxes, and sometimes it lines up where the best thing to do is just pay the tax. It just makes sense.
It happens. Yep.
Because it isn't like when you're 1099. And we'll take YouTube as an example. You make $1,000 a month. At the end of the year, you got 12 grand. Did you set aside $4,000 to give to the government? No, it's probably going to be a problem. You got to come up with 4 grand. When you sell a property, you get a bunch of money and they take a chunk.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it's I would go back and try again. I know you won't, but I would definitely go back and try again and show them that I can match any stupid cash number and it will be better for them. But, I understand. Matt, what do you think about this house hacking as an exit?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea because at the end of the day, we're all building our portfolios to meet our lifestyle that we want today. And if you take the most expensive thing out of the equation, you now have even more money that you have to find a way to spend if you're Dion. But you
Yeah.
find even more money that you have to find a way to spend. And so, very often it's like I look at, aside from my kids' school,
Mhm.
the next most expensive thing is my house. So I would be completely cool. I told Ashley every single time I see a big property that I could make a duplex, like we could always move into that. We could always move into that. And she's just like, why do you want to move? And I said, because I hate paying a mortgage that no one helps me with. Help me.
Exactly.
Help me with
Yeah.
my mortgage. So yeah, so I think just again, it's a mindset shift, but too often people think that house hacking is like super hacking, which is actually having roommates. You don't need
Right.
that. You
Yeah.
can have an ADU, you can have one that's attached or detached, heaven forbid. There's also a lot of property. I'm not sure how much it happens out in the Midwest or on the West Coast, but here it happens all the time where they will let you build multiple houses on the same property
Mm.
depending on how much frontage you have, or if you want to
Right.
get a variance, or if you have a 3 unit and they say, we'll turn that into a 1 family, but we'll let you have 2 auxiliary dwelling units outside of that. That's a way to get a bigger house,
Right.
and then you can still do 2 ADUs where you still have renters there helping you out. And then you get the bigger house that you want if you want that bigger house. So there's a lot of flexibility about it. I think too many people only view it as a one-way street
Right.
where it's I got a house hack in the beginning, and if I don't have house hack in the beginning, I missed it.
Yeah.
You've never missed it.
You're
This is the more adult version of moving home with your parents.
Mm.
If you move home with your parents and you're not paying rent, so you could actually get ahead of things, this is the more adult version of that. Actually owning an asset, actually renting out the ADUs, or renting out a room in your house with a basement. I had a friend of mine who just did it with a basement. He converted a basement out here, and it cost him about $100,000 to convert it, and it's renting for $2,000 a month. How's for a
Oh,
4-year return on capital?
easy. Yeah. All day.
He's just like, that just made sense, and I was like, well, I would hope so. We had enough calls about it.
That's got easy
No.
math.
Yeah, but yeah, I would hope so. I was looking for a better return. I'm looking for better friends. So
Yeah,
go away.
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah,
We
that's the way
can't
I
we
think of
can't be
it.
friends. That's
Exactly.
awesome. Guys, you are amazing. Dion, you definitely got the Zuber face. You shocked me once again with that left turn. And you're right. It is a wonderful
Absolutely.
exit that most people should think about. Where can they find you, Dion?
You can find me right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom.
And Matt, where can they find you?
Lumberjack Landlord at YouTube and on Instagram, making pretty often updates. But most importantly, just as Dion's great video landed a couple weeks ago with Sean Cannell from Think Media, mine landed this morning. So thanks, Zoob, for that opportunity. And
I haven't seen that yet.
and
Awesome.
yeah, it was fantastic. Sean is I mean, aside from you, he's the best interviewer I've ever seen. So, he had me talking about things. I was like, didn't have any expectations I was gonna be talking about that today, but okay, sounds good.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. So yeah, great video for our community, just one rental at a time community, and Lumberjack Landlord and Dion. Go over, check out those videos, Dion's, mine, Mike's. Make sure that you're leaving comments there. We want to make sure that we're reciprocating and that we're not just go givers in our real estate business, but that we're doing it with our channels as well. And many of you have started channels. I've seen many of them, and that's a great thing. But get out there, make comments, start to become a something in that community, and leaving feedback. It's important.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.